It says we're live. And now I got to go to Instagram, I think. Okay. I maybe did it, Mike. All right. I think I see us on Instagram. Okay. Maybe you'll be proud of me, okay? I watch your show every day, and I'm like, how does he do it? This morning, when you were transitioning from the...
You're live.
Hey, I'm live. We're live on YouTube as well. When I was watching you on the... You were transitioning from the, like, showing the clips just seamlessly. I'm like, man, BJ's like, he's been doing it forever. I'm like, I know, still.
That is the thing. I've done it,
like,
what, 12 years now? So, ugh.
Is it 12 years?
I guess 11 entering 12. Yeah.
Dang. Well,
I'm old.
Again, you're not, you're younger than me. You're like 10 years younger than me. That just means I started really late.
We all start late.
Had we not met, none of this would be happening.
Yeah, that is true.
That shit just is crazy to me. Like, just in the past year or whatever, how, like, things have changed, and yeah, it's crazy. And I owe it to you, my guy.
So I'm the one you're trying to blame here? I don't know if I accept that.
Hey, you saw proof. I'm live. We're good. We had technical difficulties before, but we're moving through. So
that's right.
We're moving along. But yeah, and I'm on time. 7:04. So progress, y'all. But no, I again just thank you for coming on. I know you're super busy, and yeah, like we kind of just were talking a little bit about if it wasn't for you, I don't think I'd be having this podcast right now. And yeah, I appreciate it a lot.
You can say that, and I guess I will take credit, but no, it's all like you came up with the idea. You are the person who, through all your inner battles and stuff like that, you're able to like still push through and like showing perseverance and stuff like that. So that's all on you. Like, I was talking to somebody today because they're going to be doing a job interview here at where I work at, and they were like, "Oh, thank you so much." This and that. I was like, "Look, I could open the door for you. What you do after that is up to you. Like that's all on you. So like, I'll open the door gladly. You ran through it and you kept running. So that's what matters the most. Even with the little eye thing,
like the Kool-Aid man."
Yes.
Even with the eye thing, I think it's just the lighting. So you can probably see in the glasses. Like, I'm not a fan of the lighting because it's hard on my eyes. So today I'm like, let me try lighting, because I had A-Town on last week, A-Town and Death in a Hoodie. And Johnny had like the perfect lighting. I'm like, how did you do that? He's all, it's natural lighting. I'm like, dude, I wish I had natural lighting like that. And I didn't. So I'm playing with lights today. And of course it's like bugging with my eyes. So rather than you guys seeing me squint the entire time, I'll put my shades on. But yeah, so thank you. So everybody, welcome to another episode of Talking About It. This month, June, we are focusing on men's mental health, awareness, conversations, breaking stigma. And I have been fortunate enough to be having some conversations with the fellas that I have in my circle, and that have agreed to come on and just have these conversations. And I appreciate, the fellas last week, and Mike, thank you for coming on. I'm back to my paper notes because I've been trying to do like a iPad, a tablet thing, and I'm old, man. I need my papers. So thank you for coming on. For those of you that
Us
don't
old
know,
people, we always need things to cheat us old
for
people.
those of you who don't know, I know, and even still, I think I need an eye exam because my vision's been bad, and I heard 40s, 45 is when it kind of starts going. So
What's the size of the font?
we'll see
Like,
how
is it
long I
like
can. Like my
72
font is.
size font?
I was gonna say, you can see. I'm at 16 right now. I might have to bump it up to 20.
I
So
knew it.
I'm working on it. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm at 6. I think 16 is not bad. I was gonna go for 18. I was like, nah, that would be like 10 pages. But yeah, so everybody, thank you. My guest today is my mentor, my homie, the guy that you can blame for talking about it. Just kidding. So for good, for better or worse, Mike Tipton of The Tipping Point and Tipton Sports Broadcasting. So thank you for joining me today, Mike. I appreciate you, and I'm excited to have this conversation with you. So thank you,
I
my
have
guy.
missed our conversations ever since I had to like fuck around and get responsibility. I said a bad word, but I don't know if that's okay. But ever since I messed around and got responsibility,
It's
like these
all
have
good,
become
man.
less and less. So for me, it's like it's nice. It's like a little throwback, and it's like relaxing, cathartic, like a little USA going for me.
Yes. And it's crazy too, right? Like, it's been, how long have you been responsible for? A year? It's been the year, right? Maybe a little bit longer. 'Cause I think you started like
No,
partway last year. Part season.
late July. Late July is whenever I started the position that I'm in now.
Yeah. So it's been, kind of just figuring things out, right? As far as with the podcast. And so like every week we were talking, we were having our conversations, we were doing this, and it was like, it was like you were my pre-therapy session. So yeah, I'm glad that we're able to get back. And people always tell me, I get comments, that when I'm on with you, you kind of bring out a little bit more of the silliness. And so thank you. I feel like I'm
Oh, you're
finding it a little
welcome.
bit more. I'm getting a little more comfortable. I message you all the time, and you're like, just go live. Just do it live. What are you waiting for? So I'm doing it.
That's what I learned. Like for me, whenever I was doing like podcast stuff, because I started podcasting in 2015, right? It was just so much easier for me whenever I learned that I can just go live. Like if I mess up, I mess up. But if I mess up and I pre-record it, I fixate on how like I messed up and I want to get it right. And especially whenever I was like producing commercials and stuff like that, it would take me like an hour to produce a 30-second commercial at times because I was like, damn, I don't like the way I sound. And I will never like the way I sound. So I was just always nitpicking at little itty bitty things. Going live makes your life so much easier.
I think you're right, because when I'm editing, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like I get tired of hearing my voice. I get tired of hearing my voice, and I'm like, ugh, it's like nails on a chalkboard, and I'm like, I don't know how to mess with audio. So I'm like, so yeah, I think you're right. And then like we still put these live on the afterwards. So I still kind of go back and I like try to take out long spaces of my babbling. But yeah, it's crazy. I understand more now, like what it is what you're doing. But for the reason of today's show, I wanted to get into just mental health. And I wanted to start off by saying, because I got this question or a comment in the DMs, and it was, I don't have a mental illness, you know. So I think I wanted to start out by talking about the difference between mental health and mental illness. And they're not the same. So, mental health, when we're talking about, this is a mental health podcast, it's bringing awareness. It's talking about just like your physical health, it's doing that, but for your mental, right? Think about it in a way of, if you skip the gym, if you start eating like shit, if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not sleeping, your physical health struggles. And what we're trying to do here is to bring awareness to your mental health. You need to take care of the mental, whether it's working out, whatever it is, it's about taking care of the mental aspect. So clarifying mental health is just having the conversations and talking about what, you know, this is and taking care of it, exercising it. It doesn't necessarily mean focusing in on mental illness. Now, with me specifically, I do have mental struggles, mental illness, if you will, which is panic attacks, anxiety, bouts of depression. That is mental illness, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. There's a long list of mental health or mental illnesses that I talk about first person because it's something that I struggle with. And I think, having more of these conversations with the fellas is a lot of them struggle with some of the same things. And just because you struggle with something doesn't mean you're depressed. If you get nervous randomly, it doesn't mean you have panic disorder. If you are tired and you're just in bed, overworked, that doesn't mean you're depressed. So it doesn't have to be one or the other. I like to see the kind of gray in it. Mike, have you heard that? Like where people think that it has to be one thing or the other?
Of course, and it's unfortunate that people, even in today's world, like 2026, right? I think we're the generation where we said, you know what, we're going to kind of highlight mental illness and mental health and realize that like we've got to take care of our mental just as much as we have to take care of our physical, just as much as we have to take care of literally any other type of relationship that we have with ourselves internally, right? And to see that there's still people, both young and old, that kind of convolute the two is disheartening at some point, but it's also kind of refreshing because what it means is, there are groups of people out there who have been lucky enough to not have to deal with mental illness, to not have to deal with those types of issues. And what it looks like to me, whenever you talk about, mental health and mental illness having the difference between the two, is that they have a pretty solid mental health, right? Like they're going out there, they're taking care of themselves, they're doing the things that they've got to do. Meanwhile, I can have great mental health on Tuesday and Wednesday, start dealing with, again, my issues, which are kind of similar to yours. I don't deal with panic attacks, and I always sympathize with people that deal with panic attacks. It seems like a fucking nightmare. But I do have manic depression, and I do have bipolar 1 disorder, and I do have PTSD, right? So there are times, I think you've seen it too, where with the manic depressive side of me, once I get my mind is on something, it's on that thing until that thing gets fixed. And it stays that way. And it'll be hours upon hours and days upon days, weeks upon weeks of me just trying to make sure whatever that is, where the mania kind of comes in, right? Like the lack of sleep, the lack of where you feel like you're hyper focused, but you're not actually focused on anything at all. You're just moving a million miles a minute. That's where, I've got my stuff, and it takes time, especially as men, because we always kind of get stigmatized that you can't, you can't have emotions. It takes that time for me to like sit back, relax a little bit, remember what makes me happy, right? We spoke briefly about, me being in a new position. I think I went, 5 months almost without doing a podcast, like my own thing, like without doing my own show, which was always like my little therapy couch. And it weighed on me. It really did weigh on me. And I remember that first show that I did whenever I came back, where it just felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. It's like, oh, I get to do this again. Like, this is so much. Like, yes, there's stress. Yes, there's anxiety doing it. I still get nervous doing it. But it did feel like I'm around people who genuinely care. And that was a good thing for me.
Yeah, for sure. And I would check in with you, like, dude, you all right? Like, you're not doing your show. Are you okay? And
I know, like, for a lot of people, like, I'm so thankful to like you, to my co-host on Saturdays. I do a Fire and Ice with Brandon Cohn, because y'all kind of witnessed the what it's like, the tornado that's inside my head at times, where it's like as much as I'd love to be able to talk to you, it's just like, okay, well, I'll get to that, but I've also got to focus on this. and I'll look and there's, you know, 400 missed messages and stuff. And it's like, oh my God. Then I get overwhelmed by seeing how many messages there are. I can't reply to everybody. Now I start thinking I'm a piece of shit because I can't reply to everybody. I was like, I just got to day at a time, find that peace again, find that, you know, that perfect area where I want to be in.
Yeah, and it's tough too, right? As a man specifically, because that's what we're focused on, but just as humans in general, you want to try to do everything and keep your baseline the same and everything, and then something shifts in your life, whether it's a new job, whether it's losing a job, whether it's having to pick up overtime, like any of these things, and we struggle to like take that moment and say, hold on, wait, like I need a moment here. I need a break. And we either shut down, check out, or wild out. I feel like that's the extremes, right? And so even
Yeah.
with us, with the communication, is like, I was like, I know you're busy. Like, let's what do I need to do here? And so it was just kind of like I felt bad because I'm like, I don't want to stress you out. And you're like, no, 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 it's good. And so, I want people to kind of see behind the scenes that this shit ain't easy and you dealt with it, and how did you deal with it is one thing. And, just from an outside perspective, watching my friend kind of have all of these changes, and it wasn't negative changes, it was positive changes. Um, it was just pivoting and relearning, and to watch you go through it. I think, as speaking for myself, just watching one of my friends go through something, there's nothing I could do to help, you know? And I think that a lot of times women might feel that way, whether it's their friends, their brothers, their spouses. Like, what is something maybe that you could say that would help, like, I don't know, on the perspective, like something that could do that would help?
I think I guess there's two perspectives, right? Like you're on the outside looking in as the person is going through, you know, whatever change it is. And I think that was a prime example to a lot of people. Like I don't deal well with random changes like that. And initially my position wasn't supposed to be what my position evolved into in lightning fast speed. You know what I mean? It was supposed to be a weeknight thing, and I still had my mornings to do my show and do all the things I needed to do. And then just like that, it became a all encompassing position that I wound up getting in. And again, not a bad thing, right? Like it was a positive change, especially for what it is that I do for a career. But on the outside looking in, I think you did a great example of it. A lot of my close friends did a great example of it, of just having that patience, letting that person who is going through it know, like, look, I know you're going through some stuff. I know there's been a lot of changes. We're here for you. We've got this and that, and also remembering, unfortunately, you're on that person's time. You know what I mean? No matter
Yeah.
what the timeline is, you're in the eye of the hurricane of whatever that person is doing at that point in time. And it could be, and I think you got a lot of this too. Is like you and I would send, a bunch of messages a day. Then I kind of transitioned to this position, and you would send me messages, and I think I'd be quiet for a while, and then it was just like a machine gun of, and then like halfway through
Yeah.
it, it's like I'm exhausted, I'm tired now, I'm not replying to anything, and it was just like a cycle of that going on for a good bit, because it took me a bit to get a grasp on everything that I wound up having to do. And so it's just asking for that grace. And I know for the most part, whenever you have friends, whenever you have family members that understand your personality, that grace is easy to see. Whenever you're seeing it for the first time, it can be overwhelming because you feel like that person's not your friend when they are still your friend. It's just they're going through their struggle right now. Let them know you're there for them. Let them know that you're understanding, that you're empathetic, that you understand everything that's going on. On the flip side of that, as the person that went through it, the one thing that I probably could have been better on was just communication. And for people that have to go through like those manic stages like that, communicating I think is key, because there were a ton of people who I know cared that had to have been worried about me, because the me that happened, shit, I guess September through February, basically, was a me that a lot of people had never seen before. Was a me that a lot of
Mm.
people weren't used to being around. And I could have been a little more like, hey guys, this is what's going on. But I'm also, even though I'm a public figure, I try to be as private as I possibly can be. So it was like that balancing act and me just feeling like I had to have all of it on my shoulders. And oh, I can still do this, and I can still do this, and I can still do this. Just, letting it all stack up on me, not realizing like maybe I should just relax a bit, find a day, find, 2 days, a couple of hours even, just to find a little bit of time. Because with me, it was like, I mean, my dreams for a good like 3 months were like me dreaming about work, being at work, fixing a problem. Like that's what my dreams were for such a long period of time. And it took a bit to finally get into this groove where, yeah, I can do my show now. And I get to relax a little bit while doing the show. I get to, not stress out as much before I come into work. Come into work, do my thing, go home, and then just try to relax as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think you did a very good job of masking it and hiding it and kind of just like, and I think that men do that a lot, right? And I think that just in having other conversations with other fellas is like, they can't break down or they can't ask for help or they can't do these things, right? That's how they feel. And I think kind of what I, just with you is, not you asking for help, but us offering like, hey, we're here, sending quick messages like, yo, I know you're busy, but try to take 10 minutes today. So I think part of what my goal for this is for men and women to both see like, all you got to do is, again, communicate. You said it. It's asking the questions. It's not expecting an answer back, but just truly being there and saying like, you know what, I'm here if you need me. Otherwise, like, I know you're good. And I know when you're settled, we'll get back to whatever it is that we're doing, the conversation. And, just when I started seeing you back on your show, I'm like, all right, he's better. He's feeling good. He's getting back in the groove. And you can tell on your show, for people that watch, you can tell on your show. And we need our sports, dude. We need our sport. I think it was the first time. I think when I had seen you on, I think you did Fire and Ice, and that was one of the first things that you did back. And I was like, Tip, you're back. Like, and I messaged you, and I was like, it was so good to see you on the air today. Like, it filled the gap that I had as well, right? Because people may see us on the podcast and things like that, and like, I consider you a friend. You're one of my homies. And so like to see that is just really cool. Like, okay, he's good. And I was like, dude, I'm glad you're back. And so now I watch you every morning. Except for I did a brief stint there where I thought I was gonna go into the workforce and I wasn't able to watch, and I was like, ugh. We've had a change of mind on that. Yeah.
I'll say, don't do it.
Instagram
It's a
helped me
mistake.
make a decision.
It's a trap.
Instagram helped me. I put a poll up, and I'm like, what do I do? And I'm like, you guys are right. I think it's crazy that we sometimes have to resort to asking social media questions because it's like, but it's an outside perspective. A lot of some people just follow the podcast, just stumbling about or whatever. So to get outside perspectives truly is like important, I think. So, all right. I wanted to ask, so we did get, thank you all, if you all tuned in for the last episode with A-Town and Death in a Hoodie, Johnny and Louie. We did get quite a few questions submitted this time around as well. So I kind of wanted to see if you're up for a Q&A.
Of course.
Just to kind of get your perspective. I had to handwrite some because they came in after I had printed. So one of them was, I'm going to go with the fatherhood question. It's fatherhood and breaking cycles. So you're a father of two, you're a husband. What lessons are you trying to pass on to your boys, right? Because in our culture, just in general, men are always told men don't cry, men don't ask for help, things like that. What lessons are you trying to pass on to your children when it comes to mental health?
I'm trying to teach them to be more open with what it is that they're struggling through, right? Because again, my upbringing is a little different than most people because of the age gap between me and my adopted parents. There's a 54-year age gap. My mother was born before the Great Depression started, and my father was born in the middle of the Dust Bowl. So like they're old as all hell, right? So they grew up that old school mentality of you don't show emotions, you don't show this, like emotions are weakness, blah 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 blah, that old, tired out thing. I'm trying to show them that like it's okay, right? Like acceptance of who you are as a person is paramount. Being comfortable with who you are as a person is paramount, right? I've been asked before by people like, how would I react if my sons were gay? I don't care. They're still my sons, right? Like whoever they love is who they love. Like who am I to be an asshole about that stuff? Let them be who they are supposed to be, accepting themselves, accepting others for who they are, accepting that sometimes the world doesn't, you know, treat you the way that you want it to be treated, and every now and then you've got to go out there and get what you want. Like you've got to, force it to do the things that you want to do. And then most importantly, the thing that I'm teaching them is that they don't have to be like me because I see what my flaws are, right? Like I had a friend pass away last week, oh, shit, a week ago, almost to the day, right?
Mhm.
And I was the rock, for lack of a better term, for so many people. And I still haven't been able to grieve, the way that I guess most people would. It's probably going to hit me like a ton of bricks on Saturday, but I haven't, gotten to that point just yet. I often tell them it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to do all these things that I was told I wasn't supposed to do because we live in a world where acceptance of people is normal, right? Where back in the day it wasn't. Remember, we were, at least I was, I think, I'm sure you were too. You're not that much older than I am, but we were in high school whenever there was a gay kid in Wyoming that got murdered just for being gay.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, what a terrible time to live in. And hopefully we're better than that. And like we're not perfect as a society by any means, but we're a lot better than where we were in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think that, you know, just I think a lot of people in our generations are starting to open up more about it. A lot of the older dudes, the older heads, speaking of on sports, I follow like the Pivot podcast, and a lot of the sports podcasts, and they're talking about mental health and their struggles. And I think that that's important. I think that that's starting to open up and have these conversations. And specifically, I do watch most of the podcasts I watch are the ones with sports fellas. um, and I think I like that because I feel like they take emotion out of it. It's a lot of just meant like the way that they talk about it. It's not so emotion driven. It's more like pragmatic and just like this is what's happening. This is what I needed. This is what happened. And specifically in those conversations, I do notice a lot of accountability. Like they talk about like I fucked up or I was young and I didn't know any better or different things like that. And I like that. I think that that's important. I think accountability is a trait. Is accountability a trait? What is it? A skill?
I think it's an art. Like to
An
be able
art?
to look at yourself and say, "This is where I fucked up. This is where I need to be better." That's yeah, that's an art. Like that, there's beauty in that, right? Like being able to hold yourself accountable, to hold other people accountable. But my whole thing is like before I hold anyone else accountable, I got to hold myself accountable. It's
Hmm.
not it's no longer the do as I say, not as I do world. You got to lead by
Yes.
example, and that to me is the number one example that I can do, especially for my kids. If I can do anything, is teach my kids about accountability.
Right there, that you hit it on the head. Do as I say, not as I do. That shit was fucking literally beat into my brain at times when I was a kid. And it was like, and becoming a parent, and I wasn't, my mental health journey is new. It's a couple years in. So I wasn't the best parent in the beginning, but I always was trying to do things differently. And the best thing that I've been able to do is lead by example. Like have my freakouts or whatever it is, and be able to take accountability, talk to my children about like the time I ended up in the can. You know what I mean? Like have these conversations and not and take accountability. Like I was dumb. I don't want you to repeat any of these things. Um, at 17, my son's 17, my daughter's 20. At 17, I was already partying in the bars that you were supposed to be old enough to be in. At 20, forget it. I was fucking bananas. So I think now it's just a matter of like, okay, seeing where my kids are, one having her business, my son trying to get into his own thing with his photography and things like that. Like, okay, they're learning. My son's starting to wanting to drive, and my daughter let him drive her to the dollar store the other day. And she came in and she was like, ugh. She's like, he's really good, but now I know how you feel. And she's like, I didn't want to freak him out. I didn't want to do any of this. She's all, there was a car coming and he kind of like hit the brakes hard. She's like, but I wanted him to stay calm. And so like me just seeing that, how she is with my son is showing examples of how I'm already breaking cycles. Do you see that with your
Yeah.
son?
I do completely like, and it's obviously not to that level just yet, but to see my kids as affectionate as they are with one another is completely different than like the way I grew up, right? Like I think I told you it might not be a thing that I said to a ton of people, but my family, we were not affectionate. We weren't huggers. We weren't any of that stuff. And I was 28 or so, I think, the first time that I heard my mom say she loved me, and it was because my daughter passed away, right? Like it's one of those types of families. So like hearing them be like, "I love you," and they give each other hugs, and the way that they're affectionate with me, that's how I know. Okay, I've broken one cycle of the way that I am, and again, like their willingness to be open and talk about things and be willing to sink into who they are as people. I was super uncomfortable with myself whenever I was a kid, right? Like being short and skinny at the time and having a voice like this, like I hated it. I hated every second of it. But I finally grew into it. And I'm glad to see that they have grown into themselves. They accept themselves for who they are, all their eccentricities and weirdness and stuff like that. And that to me is such a refreshing sign because how many kids do you see are uncomfortable with themselves? How many adults do
Mhm.
we see are
Adults.
uncomfortable with themselves?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that a lot of it starts with the grown-ups. Hang on, let's see. So we do have comments on Instagram. Thank you all who have joined on Instagram. We've got questions. I'm still learning. I don't have the second screen up. So Sydney's like, you have messages on Instagram. So let's see. Amber, thank you, my girl. It's a strength if you can do it. I'm thinking it's probably the accountability that she might be talking about there. Examples are convoluted because of social media where people can paint a picture of themselves that is not real. 100%. Everybody thinks everybody else is living the perfect life, and you don't find out, you don't know really what's going on in the back end, right? You just kind of package it unless you're Talking About It podcast, you see the the mess, the unfiltered, unedited mess. And I think with you, like when you go live, when you're doing your show, you see like the struggles, the technical difficulties, the, you know, it kind of, is it humble the word? Maybe it kind of like, oh shit, okay, you know, it's one of those things. Um, but definitely agree with that, Amber.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
posting this comment just to make you read it. Thanks, Mike. You're making me switch screens.
I think I think that's the thing that like I am so happy with like my presence on social media is people think they know a lot, right? And I love when people, oh, you're this, you're that, you're blah 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 blah. My favorite one is where I can be called a racist and a white supremacist while also being called the N word on the exact same post. Like it's the exact, but it's the two different things. And like I love, I know it's dumb, but I love just having that duality in my life of like
Duality.
people don't know what it is that I'm doing, but I know what I'm doing, and it makes me laugh so much because they know nothing about me while thinking they know everything about me.
Mm, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then people start to mimic things that they're seeing on profiles, and it's like that's not healthy because these people are not like real. I don't know. I have a weird relationship with the internet.
So I was listening to a podcast and a commercial for another podcast came up over it, right? And it was talking about OnlyFans and like the harm that OnlyFans did to like individual people. And one of the clips that it has is like clearly the guy's Canadian, you can tell by his accent. And he's like, I can't believe that it was 3.5 years of nothing. Yeah, dude, it's fucking OnlyFans. Like, what are you
Mhm.
expecting? That like, how do you fall in love with a bot? How do like the people? What was the thing I saw the other day? The AI girlfriend. Why? Just why?
That's a thing. AI girlfriend.
Yeah, AI girlfriend, AI boyfriend. You can have AI create a significant other for you. I will not go through that, but I am sure there are people that have, and I would love to have a conversation with those people. Not
Mm,
judgmental, because obviously it's filling
curiosity.
some sort of void that's there, but like what's going on in your world where you feel like this is the option?
Hmm. I don't know. I feel like maybe if I was single and 45 in the headspace that I'm in now, that might not be bad. Because then you don't have to deal with anybody responding. You don't have to, you can dictate the conversations. It might be easy. I don't know. I
I
love
mean,
my life.
maybe, right?
I'm just saying, like, it might be easy. It might be an easier thing, but I think not for, I think it has to be a specific age group that maybe
maybe like
should be going for
60 year old fucking Destiny got tired of my bullshit, Mike.
that.
Maybe
There you
that's
go.
what it'll be.
There you go. What's it called? All right, so let's get to some viewer questions. Um, wow. Okay. That one kind of made me like choke up. So I print them, but I like to kind of take them in the moment with everybody. So you've talked about having somebody to talk to. What do I do if I don't have anybody to talk to? If I don't have a friend group?
I always feel like we are harder on ourselves than anyone else is. And we always say to ourselves that we are alone in this world. And I'm just saying it from my own experience, right? Like, there are days and weeks and stuff where I can go through and it feels like I'm the only person in the world. And I know I'm not, right? Like I know that there are people out there that care about me, but I get stuck in that mindset of there's nobody out there. Nobody understands. If you are feeling that way and genuinely, if you don't feel like you can trust a friend, if you don't feel like you can trust a family member or anything of that nature, then do what I do. And it's maybe not the healthiest. Don't go as far as I do, but I will go to a bar that I've never been to and I will sit at the bar. And if you have a good bartender, they are good at reading people and you can just trauma dump on them, right? Because a lot of the time it's something as simple as like, I just need to get this off my chest. Whatever this is, I just need to get it off my chest. Some people can write. I love to write. Whenever I get my manic episodes, especially at night, I'll just sit there, write my thoughts, and like I'll read it, the next day and be like, Jesus, man, you were going through it. But you have to find a healthy way to vent. With all that said, though, I truly believe that there's a friend out there for everybody. You might not know who that friend is, but you'll never find that friend unless you make the effort to find that friend. And that person can surprise you. It can be a person that you feel has everything together in their life, and they might be going through the exact same thing that you want. And if you wind up bonding over trauma or whatever it is that you're going through, that's probably one of the strongest bonds that you can make with somebody.
Yeah, 100%. And also on Instagram, DMing people. I have so many good friends that I have conversations with that I've met through Instagram. And it's people who are interacting with your post, who are responding to you. Another, Amber was on here. I had her on. We've been able to kind of have a friendship. And I've never met her in person. Amber, we still need to make that happen. But we have conversations and she understands things differently than other people might because we do have that trauma bond, right? I think that when you are bonded by that instance, it doesn't mean that you have to stay in it. You can grow together and you can bounce conversations off of each other. And even with me and you, Mike, like when we first started working together and hanging out and talking and working on this, opening up about mental health and having the conversations was like, oh, like when you've had your conversations, we've had conversations about like PTSD. And that was when I was finding out that what I was struggling with, one of the things was CPTSD, which is basically, I don't think it's child, it's something else, but it's basically stems from that. So I think just finding people who share similar interests, if you're into fitness or if you're into anything, like find groups. It's very hard when you're in a sad state, and I'm not going to say depressive state, because first and foremost, if you feel alone, if you feel out of control, if you feel that you need help, I recommend always to go to your primary care provider, get checked out, and then, maybe try counseling, try a therapist. If you don't have any of that, you can always dial 988 or text 988, and that's the crisis helpline. They're available 24/7. You can speak to somebody, you can chat with somebody via text if you don't want to talk to somebody. And they will help you. They will help you find resources. There are different resources available. And here, with talking about it with the podcast, if you truly feel that way and you don't feel like you are getting help or know where to start, send me a DM. I am glad to connect you with resources and help in that way. Because I think that the whole point of starting this podcast was I didn't feel like I had anybody that could relate to me. Everything I was seeing on YouTube, everything I was reading, everything was like not somebody going through it. It was somebody on the other side telling me, you need to do this and you can't be doing this and you can't. And that's not what we're about. We're showing you lived experience of like somebody going through the different stages of healing. And we're lucky enough to have conversations like this, like with Mike, with Louie, with Johnny, with Amber, with any of my guests. They're always coming here to share their story so that people understand that they're not alone, men or women. My podcast, one of my flexes, I was looking at my analytics, and I'm just about even men and women following. And I take that as the biggest compliment and the biggest, to me, I call it a flex, because mental health is mental health, y'all. It, for me, it's just taking care of it and bringing awareness. So if you're finding us here through Mike, welcome, fellas. Mike, you have a pretty good following of women that are getting into sports, or that are in sports, and I love it. I just, so this place is for
For
everybody.
for the longest time, I had a 65% female demographic in my audience, which I thought was insanity. No problem saying I'm sure the vast majority of them were like, "Oh, that dude sounds good. Let me follow this guy. Whatever, I will take it." But I think you've seen it. Like there will be times where you have, and I think with me, like I think sports is a fun place where people from different areas can come together. And I don't care if you're male or female. If you ask a question and you want like the most remedial answer to sports because you don't know the sport, I will give you that answer. Now, if you try to like do dumb stuff, which we've seen people do dumb stuff, like what happens if somebody dies in the ring in the octagon? Well, they stop the fight, you idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what else do you think is going to happen? But yeah, like I love that, and that is one of my biggest flexes too. Is my audience is still 52% female, which is just
Yeah.
funny to me because it shouldn't be, right? Like sports is the man dominated thing, but it makes me feel good because it means okay, I've opened my show up to different people and they feel like this is a place that's comfortable for them to come and even talk about sports.
Yeah. And you just explain it so well. Like you really do. And I'm in on your chat during your things, and I'm asking questions because I'm a big sports fan, but there's sports that I don't follow very much, basketball being one of them. And so I'm always asking you questions like, I'm sorry if it's a dumb question, and you're always really good about like, and I think you would tell me if it was a dumb question anyway, which is why I think people tune into your show, because it's like, because that's what we want. We want that, like, you engage so well with everybody on the comments, and everybody is kind of having a conversation, and you've really built a community. And I think that that's just so amazing and a testament to what you're putting out in your show. Yes, it's a sports show, but you also talk about mental health. You'll address things, and I think that it's important. And that the work that you're doing is great. But yeah, like I'll ask questions sometimes, and I'm like waiting to hear Mr. Carranza or Augustine or any of these guys. I'm like, that's why I'll put like a hold my breath type of emoji. But yeah, I think you do great work, and I think that when we can reach people like that, I think that that is just it's meaningful, right? And it goes to bridge a gap, right? We're here, man, woman, and we're able to bridge a gap and bring people together, whether it's talking about mental health, whether it's talking about sports, or a combination of the two, because I think they go hand in hand. I think more now we're seeing a lot more athletes talk about mental health and the importance of taking care of that, right? They're like, as an athlete, especially, you need to have your physical in check. Now people are starting to realize, oh, the mental is part of it. And I think just having those conversations is what's fantastic. Let's see. I want to make sure I get questions because I missed some the last time and I felt really bad. Okay. Helping sons. Hold on. I can't even read my own writing. This is why I type it up, y'all. Helping sons or advice for young men who maybe think getting help is weak.
It's not. If you're worried about how the world perceives you because you want to work on yourself, that to me is the bigger sign of weakness. And I hate saying that because I don't think that there is such a thing as weakness when it comes to enlightenment or searching for answers, right? Um, it's not honestly. Like I used to feel the exact same way, and I've learned that it takes a bigger person to realize and accept their flaws. Once again, the accountability thing, to love and accept you as yourself and understand that there's times where you're not going to be able to have every problem solved on your own, where you might need to um, ask for help. And asking for help, realizing that you need to do it, is one, a huge step in maturity, and two, a a burden that you just don't need to fixate on, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's hard, especially in the 20s and 30s. We like feel like we got it all together. I feel like men have an additional pressure um, to with that stigma, right? And it's just a matter of breaking that. And I want to say everybody is going through shit. Everybody is. If you have mental illnesses, things like that, like everybody is going through shit at some time, right? Even on social media, if it looks like it's good, everybody is going through something. But it's not necessarily focusing on what you're going through. It's learning how to react to what you're going through and learning how to react to what's being thrown at you. And so I feel like so much of the time we forget that. It's like, go to therapy. I'm a big advocate for therapy because for me it helped. It was something that I needed. And it was because one, you get to vent, you get to hear from somebody who has experience and school and can give you tools that you can use. And I think that it's important that we talk more about it, like get help, talk to somebody. Like Mike said, journal. But understand that therapy isn't to fix you, it's just to give you tools so that you can learn how to react with things. I think that's a big misconception is like, oh, therapy is for unpacking baggage, unpacking this, unpacking that. It's going to make me feel sad, unpacking emotions. And it's not necessarily that. I think, too, if you feel like you're somebody who is mentally got it together, speaking to somebody to get an outside perspective isn't a bad thing. So I think that, it's an option. And now you can go online. Now here, Mind Forward Health Center, the therapists that I go to, they have online sessions, so it's more readily available. So I highly recommend for whoever submitted that question, if you're looking to get help for your sons or for yourself, make the appointment. That's the first step. Just make the appointment and then go to it. That's the I guess the first step is two steps.
Well, I mean, yeah, the first step is actually no, like it's making that appointment and
Yeah.
following through, right? Like just make that promise to yourself, I think will be the first step. Make that promise to yourself that you want to get better, that you're going to take the steps necessary to get better. And once you make that promise to yourself, again, you hold yourself accountable. Nobody is going to judge you for doing it. Nobody's going to judge you for not doing it. But it's up to you if you really want to get there to take the steps necessary.
Yes, showing up. That's all we got to do is show up. And if you feel like you don't have anybody to show up for you, I hate to break it to you, but when it comes with the mental aspect of things, it all comes down to you and showing up for yourself. And that was the hardest fucking lesson for me to learn because I have a support system. I've got family, I got all of these things, and I still was in the same depressive state. I was still not able to get out of bed. I was still struggling. I built a business from the ground up from my bed in a depressive state. Like I was still functioning and doing shit, but I felt so alone, even though I had a room full of people to help me. And the reason is because it comes from within. It's the accountability. Accountability is such a huge fucking word, and it's important. If anything sticks with you tonight, accountability. Learn it, start to take it, and hold people accountable. But yeah, I think we lose a lot of that. But yeah, I know I want to be respectful of your time and everything and everybody watching. I know you're at work. And so I thank you for coming on. I wanted to just end by, we're talking, let me say one thing first, and then I want to get your closing thoughts on something. But while we're speaking on accountability, something recently that I have been seeing fucking just blew my mind and made me so proud of El Paso, made me so proud of people showing their power in their voices and speaking up and attending and showing up for the city. We're struggling here in El Paso, Texas, with data centers. And we have a couple of groups here locally that brought this to people's attention, and it's gained fire. And this one issue has brought so many people together to fight for a cause. And it has just shown that when you find a group or you find a common theme, the power of people and community and speaking up for one another and feeling supported is fucking huge. So just a shout out to I'm gonna have to look them up because you know me and my memory. But to Zion, there was just so many people. Zion, ElPasoHub.org has some great information on his website. The 183 people that spoke up at the council meeting this past Tuesday, they were there until 7 p.m. speaking on the phones, in line. They had an overflow of people. The previous council meeting before that, I think, was like 140 people or 150 people. So just that has been just so cool to watch. I mean, it sucks that it's for what the cause is for. One thing I talk about is prevention, awareness. Before things get too big and are a problem, we need to pay attention to local issues. Elections, it's fucking boring. It sucks. The candidates suck sometimes. You feel like you have to keep your mouth shut. You feel like you don't have a voice. And these people have come together and made a difference just in the connections that they've been making. I am not happy with council. I have not been. And there are projects that they're doing together, but I think it's a Sembrano. Hold on, I gotta go to the right profile. Do you by chance know them off the top of your head? I'm looking so. Or do you have thoughts
Not
on
on the
that?
top of my head.
Did you see that?
But I know that one of them is like the representative for my area, and I was not happy hearing about that. First and foremost, like if you're entrusted into one of those positions, it is incumbent upon you to do the will of the people, not to do the will of what's good for your wallet, not to do the will of what's good for some other corporation out there, but to do the good of the will of the people that are in your constituency. And whenever you lose that, you have lost the people. Like, you are beholden to them. They are your boss. They are the people that gave you the power that you have. And the second that you turn on them, you've lost them. And you know what? Rightfully so. If the data center is something that people here overwhelmingly did not want, we should have found a way to make sure we got rid of that data center.
Yeah. And the thing is, this passed in 2023, which is why I talk about prevention. Had people given a shit back then and shown up at the community meetings, shown up at the discussions, shown up at any of these things, and to be fair, I was reading on it, and it was set to be way smaller than it is now. I think in 2023 there was not a lot of information. as to what data centers were going to be. And I think that within the past 3 years, shit has just exploded. And they're like, oh, well, we already have this piece of land. Let's just fucking, let's go hard on it. And so I feel like the candidates, again, we need good candidates, qualified candidates. The people who have been working with this, I looked at, it's a Project Amanecer. Gosh, I just had the other one, and it's Project Amanecer. I hope I'm saying that right. And Sembrando Esperanza. Those are the two, and then along with Zion. But these groups have like just done a fantastic job of getting people out to speak at council. And I love what you're doing. I'm here for it. If there's anything that we can do, let us know. To our fucking council members, do better. I think I think what they're working on is a recall for the mayor. So there's all kinds of things. Make sure you follow Project Amanecer and Sembrando Esperanza. You can also go to the El Paso Hub .org, and Zion has some information there, like on literally how you can go and speak public comment and all of that. But so for closing, Mike, any last thoughts?
I think it's very important for us to realize that mental health and mental illness are two separate things, but they are both extremely important to get taken care of. You can have bad mental health while also having zero mental illness, and vice versa. You can have great mental health while having mental illness. The two are not coinciding with each other, but there are two things that need to be looked at and taken care of as best they possibly can. A message for the men out there, since June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to admit that you have your problems. It's okay to admit that you need to make a change in your life for the good, especially when it comes to taking care of your mental health. No one will ever fault you or judge you for doing what's best for you to get you out of whatever it is that you might be dealing with. And most importantly, you are not alone. You have friends all around, and there will always be people out there that care about you, that love you, and only want the best for you.
Yes, 1000%. And just to add to, if they do judge you, if they do make you feel a type of way, just as important as it is for women to set boundaries, it's important for men to realize you can set boundaries too, and cut those fucking people out of your life. They don't need to be a part of it. So, Mike, again, thank you so much. Oh, your thing Saturday. What do you have coming up on Saturday?
On Saturday, we have Fire and Ice happening over at Buffalo Wild Wings. We're going to have a little bit of a memorial for our friend, David Halpern, Daver, as he's known to a lot of people here in El Paso. He passed away last week. That was our engineer on the show over the last 4 years. I've known him ever since I got into radio. The hurricane that is known as Daver. Such a well-loved, well-respected individual, one of the most brilliant minds that you would have ever come across. And the world is a much less interesting place without him. But we're going to have our little get together so that way we can kind of honor him. So some of my radio friends are hopefully going to be out there on Saturday to I don't want to say goodbye, but to remember our friend Daver.
I'll see you later. Yeah. And you'll be streaming that as well, right? Are you gonna be streaming?
Not that part of it, but I will be streaming Fire and Ice.
The show. Okay. No, yeah. Jeez, Ash. You see, my filter sometimes. It's not. I didn't mean it in a ugly. I didn't mean it in a way. I was just like asking. Jesus.
I know.
You live for those moments where you make me feel that, Mike. So.
Yes.
All right. But again, thank you for coming on. His show also comes out Monday through Friday. It's at 8 a.m. our time on YouTube, Instagram. Yes. And tune in for the latest sports conversations, because he really does have some fantastic. Y'all missed a banger this morning. That
I
was
was
a
not
good one. If
happy.
you get a chance, yeah, I know. When there was so many people going in on you, I was like, I just felt it was the Wu Tang, the power of the Wu, anti Swizzle. They broke up that bad juju. But again, Mike, thank you for taking the time to come on, for just being one of my mentors and one of my buddies. I appreciate you. Um, One thing that I've learned is that mental health isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to ask the questions, having the conversations, and reaching out when life feels heavy. If there's one thing that I hope people take away from tonight, it's that you don't have to do this alone. So thank you to everybody who joined. Again, if you are somebody you know is struggling, or even you just have questions, text or call 988, the Crisis Helpline. They're a fantastic place for resources. You can also uh, visit talkingboutit.com. We also have a list there of resources. So until the next week's live, Thursday, the something, we're going to have the fellas of the BS Sports podcast coming on. So we're going to keep this going. I appreciate everybody who's been tuning in, who's been submitting questions. Thank you all. Make sure that you keep on talking about the hard things so that you can start appreciating the good. Most importantly, take those conversations and be about action. We'll talk to you later. I'll see you on the next one.